It's Miss Rita. Did you like your trackers of faith? Yes. That story was about fishing, but it was also about the time when Jesus called his disciples to come and follow him. They were out there fishing and fishing and fishing. And when we see this story, we see that Jesus had 12 of these friends that ended up being called the disciples. These were his close friends. His friends that went around with him all around to all the different places that he went. And we see that these friends were not all exactly fishermen. A lot of them were, that we see from this story. But one of the things that we see about all of the guys that followed Jesus, we see that they were willing to do what he asked them to do. And they were willing to do that immediately. They dropped their nets and they followed him. And you know, Jesus has called us to do that too. He's called us to follow him and through salvation and asking Jesus into our heart. He's also asking us to follow him in discipleship. And that means that once you've asked Jesus into your heart, then we grow and we learn how to be more and more like Jesus. We read our Bible, we study, we practice doing the things that Jesus would want us to do. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about each disciple, each of those 12 guys, and where they came from, okay, and how they got to be Jesus' disciples. But we're going to play a little game to do that, okay? I've got my fishing rod here. It's a magnetic fishing rod. How many of you have been fishing while you've been out? Oh, okay. So I'm going to fish around down here on the table, and let's see who I got. Ooh, here's my first fish. My first fish. Let me catch that fish. Ooh. John. Yeah. This was the son of Zebedee, and he had a brother named James, and he was a fisherman. He is thought to be one of the youngest disciples. He might have even been a teenager. John. Okay, fish again. Oh, here's his, there's his brother James. Yeah. James actually was martyred. That means he was killed not too long after Jesus' death because of his faith, because of him standing up and believing in Jesus. Okay, let's find another one. Got this one. There he is, Philip. We had a story about Philip earlier this year, right? Okay, from Acts. Philip, we don't really know if he was a fisherman or not, but we do know that he was from the same place that these fishermen came from. He was from Galilee, and he began to follow Jesus around with the other guys. Okay. Oh, this one is a very famous one. Peter. Yeah, he was also called Simon Peter. Yeah. Jesus renamed him Peter. Okay? Sometimes he's called Simon, sometimes he's called Peter, but Jesus called him Peter. So like if somebody has a name for you they like to call you, that Jesus called him Peter. And we see that Peter wasn't always perfect, but later in his story we see that he became the first preacher among them on the day of Pentecost. Yeah. We see that Peter, he denied Christ, but you know what? After Jesus came back, he forgave Peter and he restored him to that position that he had, and he became a mighty, mighty spokesman for the church. Okay. Oop. Sometimes there are people that have the same name in a group. Maybe that's why Jesus called him Peter, because there was another Simon. Yeah, sometimes he's called Simon the Zealot. That means that he was just gung-ho, gonna do everything, okay? And one of the things about Simon had kind of the wrong idea about Jesus. He thought Jesus was going to come and by force take over the kingdom. But we see that that's not what happened. Simon. Right. Okay, who else do we have? You know any more? Who else? Who have we hadn't done? Oh, I bet you know this guy. Matthew. And he was not a fisherman, right? Matthew was a tax collector. Can you say, when I say tax collector, say boo. He was a tax collector. Boo. Yeah. People didn't like him. But you know what? Jesus liked him. And Jesus said to him, come and follow me. And he left all of his, he was quite wealthy. He left all of his money and everything that he had, and he followed Jesus. Okay. Ooh, let's do this one. Judas. Judas loved Jesus, but in the end, we know that Judas betrayed Jesus. That means that he showed the people who were trying to get Jesus where he was. Yeah, he sunk, didn't he? Okay, who do we have left? Some that you might know and some that you might not know. Ooh, look, remember I told you there were two Simons? One of them was Peter, one was Simon the Zealot. Look at this one. Here's another James. Ah, there were two Jameses. This one was sometimes called James the son of Alphaeus. So when you're learning it, you'll say James one time, and then you say James the son of Alphaeus when you're learning it. What does that mean? Let's see. Anybody out there have a nickname? Nickname? This one's going to have a nickname. I bet you didn't know that was in the Bible. Does that sound like a Bible name? How about Andrew? Yeah, that does. Yeah. He was a fisherman. He was the brother of Peter. And we see in the story that when Jesus called Andrew, he went and got his brother. And he brought him to Jesus. He was the one who introduced lots and lots of people to Jesus. He was one who was truly sharing the gospel. Okay? Ooh, let's do this one. I caught him. Bart. This guy has a really long name. It wouldn't fit on the fish. His name is Bartholomew. Yeah. Sometimes he's called Nathaniel. He was a friend of Philip, and he was another one of those that they picked up in Galilee. Okay. This one, I don't think about this guy very much. We're using his nickname here. Ted. That's a nickname for Thaddeus. Can you say that? Thaddeus. Ted's easier. Huh? Okay? Yes. Thaddeus, though, was his last name. Anybody out there ever call you by your last name? Hey, Martin. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he swims this way. Thaddeus. Bye, Thaddeus. One more. Anybody know who that is? Anybody? Here he is. Can you guess? Thomas. Tom. Yes, Thomas. And sometimes when we think about Thomas, we think about the story that goes with Thomas. Even today, if you call somebody a doubting Thomas, that means they don't believe something you said. And that's where we have this story about Thomas. When Jesus was there and had come back to life, Thomas is one of the disciples who hadn't seen him. And he just told the rest of them, I'm not believing that until I see with my own hands and my own eyes. I put my hands in the nails of his hands. And guess what? Jesus showed him. Jesus showed him and he believed, and Jesus forgave his doubt. Sometimes we have doubts too. Sometimes we have doubts that God is hearing our prayers and that he's going to answer our prayers. But you know what? We can be like Thomas. We can believe in God, and we can look at the doubts that we have and go, no, I'm going to trust in Jesus. I'm going to believe in Jesus. Those are the 12 disciples. And we're going to learn a little song. And that little song says, there were 12 disciples that Jesus called to help him. And then it lists all the names. And the last part it says, he has called us too. 2,000 years down the line, God has called you to do the work that those disciples were doing too, back then when they were there with Jesus, and then after Jesus was gone. Sharing the love of God with the people around you so that they will come to know Jesus in their hearts too. Now, I've given you a bag that has 3 Swedish fish in it. Also, the paper that's in the bag has 3 blank spots. And what I want you to do on the 3 blank ones, I want you to put your name on one and 2 of your friends on the other. Maybe these friends are friends that don't know about Jesus, and you can help to teach them about Jesus and bring them on as disciples too. Now, I'm going to end this video, and then I'm going to have another video that has a song with it. And on that song, it talks about the 12 disciples. Here's your challenge. Learn the song. Send me a video, not where you're watching it, but where you have it memorized in your head. You're not looking at any words, okay? Where you have memorized the song. Send me a video of you singing the song, and I will get you a prize. Okay? See you next time.